Everyone, I'm 1000 Ping, and welcome to SoloCraft. In today's video, I'm digging out the rest of these chunks. I'm going to be finishing up that redstone over there, as long as connect these hoppers so the filters can filter out items. And then once we're all done with that, I'm going to be building the outside shell of the space. So let's get started. I like to do it chunk by chunk here, so I turn on the F3G screen. So typically, I try to pick up all the blocks and honestly I have enough of everything as it is. I'm going to just try to get through these as fast as possible and I'll get right back to it. Alright, so that is all of the dirt. So I'm going to do a super fast time lapse. Oh, it looks like I went one block too far here. That's alright. And I will see you when this chunk is finished. Alright, as you can see, we have another chunk down. This has exposed some more of the redstone, and I don't know if you saw or not, but I actually broke this one right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that back. I don't know, it probably destroyed the shulker that's in it. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove the rest of the chunks around the base here, and I will see when I'm done with that. So I've dug out these chunks right here. I wanted to dig out these ones, but it's taking quite a bit of time. So I figured I would leave it for a later date. So down here, oh, look at this guy. Whoa! Yeah. Let me take care of these guys. Ooh, I got a pillager head from that. Another one for the wall. As you can see, I also killed a bat. I want to collect bat heads for... I was thinking of putting, like, armor right here with a bat logo in the center. I think that'll look pretty good. For the time being, I'm going with black leather, but eventually I do want to get netherite in there. I'm going to have black concrete with mangrove wood as the bat signal there. And as you can see here, I think this is pretty cool. There's a few flaws with this design. Like right here, there's a 2-block drop that I have to avoid constantly. But if I hit that note block, it'll take me up to the top floor. And this is my general storage system. I'm going to use copper golems for the sorting. And then it's going to come out here, storage system for the farms that I want to build. As you can see, my base is pretty dark. However, this bottom is actually not spawning. So if I come back down here, all of this is slabs, so I don't have to worry about that. And then this, well, glass is not spawnable in the first place. However, I also have glowstone in these walls here. So that'll make this area not spawnable, and it illuminates the chest, which I quite like. This bottom area, as you can see, so there's a chest every 2 blocks, and that's because there's redstone in the back, you can see right there. What this redstone does here is it'll filter items from farms, and then it'll put those items in shulker boxes. And there's going to be a room above this room right here that's going to do the same thing, but it's not going to put the items in shulker boxes, so that way I have access to like a couple of stacks if I need it, and then if I have a big project where I need a ton of items, I can also just grab a shulker box from the bottom there. The reason I'm building this, Batman inspired, is I've actually been on a huge Batman kick. I went back and watched all the original, I think back to the 60s. So, I know there's some Batman animated series that came out in the 50s or 40s, I believe. I'm not too sure. But I just wanted to see all the live action ones. And then that inspired me to build, like, this Minecraft base. So what my plans are here is I'm gonna dig out a 16 chunk by 16 chunk area. As you can see, there's dirt pillars on all the corners. I'm gonna dig this down to Y level 40. I'm gonna have just a bunch of farms. It's gonna be a massive bat cave. Once I'm done digging, I'm gonna cover all this back up and then put like a mansion, the Batman mansion on it. Right, so in that previous 6 minutes there, I didn't realize that my microphone was so quiet. I believe it's fixed now. What happened? And I'm no longer Batman. Okay, that's fine. Now, what I want to do is some redstone. So what I want to do first is get some copper golems in here. As you can see, I've already set some of these filters. Unfortunately, I built this floor on the wrong Y level, so I'm going to have to kick this up just one. I want these chests hidden in the floor so that I can see the top of them here and then easily access the rest. So, yeah. But other than that, I gotta set some more filters. I gotta move this up one. I don't know how that's gonna look actually. You know, I could just create a lip. So have stairs here and then a block here. You know, I'll figure it out. But yeah, so the rest of these filters are going in, and I will see you guys when that is finished. Right, so I have the first section in now, as you can see. Well, actually the second, that one was already built. But as you can see here, this is really all it takes. The, let's see, the copper golems are going to stand right here, I believe, on top of the chests. There's going to be a copper chest right here, and there's going to be another chest that is completely empty. So that way, once copper golems can't find the right chest, they put it in that one. Hoppers are going to take it over here into a copper chest. And then the golems are going to search through these chests, try to find a spot. Once there's no spot, there's going to be a chest right here. So I have 7 chests on each one of these, except that one has 8, I believe, because it fit the floor pattern. The max that you can have is 9 for this design here, because they can search through 10 different chests before they just give up, right? So you need the 10th chest to be right here that feeds into a hopper, into a copper chest, so that this next section of copper golems can search through it, and then again it'll take over there and then move around the system. Let me get all of these built up. I still have chests to put in over there, but I will do that as well. Alrighty, so we got part way through this one, and then I realized that there's no hoppers behind these chests. So I got 5 rows, which is to right here. So all of these are now finished, which I think will do us fine for now. I'm going to start organizing and placing these filters in. So how these filters actually work, you can have more than one item in it, utilizing the copper golems. And how it works is you have to have non-stackable items, 3 of those, and then a partial stack of, you know, whatever you want. I'm going to use iron nuggets because I don't think any iron nuggets are actually going to go through the system. And if they do, they'll just be placed in the first chest, whatever. So this comparator will take a reading, and the stronger the reading, it'll send a redstone signal, which will activate that repeater, which turns off this redstone torch, and then items can freely pass through the hoppers here. And I can demonstrate that. So if I put in a couple of stone here, see, it'll start draining. Then once it gets through all of the stone, it'll stop. So that's pretty nice. And then, of course, it'll be right in here. That said, I'm going to start putting the filters in these chests. All right, I just spotted a problem. I already set this filter, and it just got emptied down below when I went to set this filter. So I think the issue is I can't have so many items, because then that'll set off... I can't have so many items in this chest, because then it'll set off the redstone enough to turn this one off. It's only supposed to take, I think, 16 at a time. No, it's got to be more than that. But yeah, so that's an issue. And so I can't pre-filter, I guess. Alright, we are back. It's been a little while since the last clip. I went end raiding and busting. I went to the end and I grabbed a bunch of shulker boxes. So what's changed so far is that this wall of chests I've just compressed down to here. So in order to continue on with this base, I really want to set these chests up all the way. However, until then, you can see, where did I get to? Right here. I was doing mob heads. I did the smithing templates, the armor trims, I mean. And you can really see that I'm running out of items to put in here. That's how big this storage system is. This so far is what's not been filtered, and apparently, I did not know this. Well, I probably could have guessed it, that unstackable items cannot go in this storage system. So all of these armors, all of these potions, you know, they can't go in here. All these books, I have a bunch of books. In every single one of these chests, I have a few. Well, I'm probably just going to throw out these crossbows. You know, music disc, I was planning on doing. But yeah, apparently I can't do it. So there's that. I have a bunch of saddles for some reason. I'm going to have to find another way to store those. But in the meantime, what I have so far is doing me pretty good. So in order to connect all of these different storage systems to each other, remember the one that's going to go up there as well, I'm going to put an input chest right here. And what this input chest will do, take full shulkers, empty them, put the empty shulker boxes into this system, take the items, push them up here, and if they don't belong in this storage system, it'll be brought over to this storage system. All right, I think that explains everything. Let's get to it. And I just want to say that there was this weird glitch that happened. I had just cleared my inventory. I had this shulker box and a few other items. However, there's now 2 of these shulker boxes. So whatever was in this shulker box was also in this one, but I moved all the items. And I had lost power right after I emptied this inventory. So it kept the data that was in this chest and didn't keep the data that was in my inventory. Right? And that's because it's faster to save this inventory than it is the player inventory. So when I lost power, it was at the perfect moment to where, well, I had everything in my inventory and the chest when I logged back on. So I wanted to point that out. That was, I think, pretty funny. I'm going to keep all the items. I don't even remember what it duplicated anymore except this. But yeah, that was pretty pretty helpful, if I don't say. All right, so here it is. I believe this is the completed shulker unloader. It's a quite old design, but it still works. I like it. Actually, I just remembered there's a few more hoppers I have to put in here. So let's see. Actually, I think I built this on the wrong side. Great. And that's the last hopper. Okay, it is correct this time. So on this chest right here, we have either empty or full shulker boxes. It doesn't matter. They will come through this hopper system into this dispenser right here. That'll be observed when... how will that be? Right here. And then it'll do the thing. It does redstone stuff. I don't really know how it works. I tried to explain it, but I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Right, so I think the best way to test if this really works, let me grab an empty shulker box, put a few items in there. I will put it in that chest right there. Should kick it out right there. And break. Cool. So, oh, that's a problem. The shulker box is supposed to be in this hopper right here. So the iron made it through, but the box didn't. Right. I'm gonna... Where'd it go? I'm gonna test it again. Oops, not all of that. Because it is pretty crucial for my system that the shulker box ends up in that hopper right there. And it didn't. Okay. There's something wrong with this. I'm going to try to figure out what it is, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've just sat here looking at it for the past like 10 minutes, and it's the exact same. I built it in a creative world, and it works fine, and I built it here, and it doesn't. So, I don't know what to do with this. It does work, technically. I just wish it was separate so I could send it directly there, and then send the items directly up there. If I need to, I'll try to get a sorting system. I don't even know how that would work. I might have to get in a lathe for that. I don't really want to do that. So, I'll figure it out, and I'll let you know. But in the meantime, I'm going to start... What should I... That's not what I'm looking at. You... God, I hate these guys so much. I hate these guys so much. And there's another one right over here. There's a whole... What? Seriously, dude? What is that about? I didn't get any heads from that. And as I was building this, I discovered... If I go into this wall, lock myself off here, go into free cam, there's a mine shaft right here with a, where is it? A spider spawner. I'm not actually ever gonna need that. Yeah, it's a little bit in the late game for that. I wonder what's in this chest. Let me go find out. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Alright. I'm going back up. So the last project I want to do for this video is getting the roof built right in here. I want to build the inside of that, finish that up. I'm not going to be able to finish the floor today. The plan for this, actually I have to raise the skulk up one. I built that in the wrong level. The idea is that as I walk, the skulk will go off. That'll power a redstone lamp right above it. That redstone lamp has a map on it. It'll light up. It's a really cool system. I found it not too long ago, and I wanted to implement it into my base. So that'll be right there. But in the meantime, I'm going to put like a dome-ish, square-ish, if that makes any sense, roof on this sorting system right here. And in order to do that, I have to go get some deep slate, because these 4 pieces of deep slate right here is all I have left. So I'm over here at my Enderman farm because my pickaxe are really busted up. But I just wanted to point out that, what's it called? Zoomify or something like that with the Voxy mod is absolutely insane. Because if you don't know, those islands start spawning around 1,000 blocks away from this island. 1,000 blocks. I could see there's... Wait. There's an entity right there and one way over here. And I can see the details on the end stone right there. That is insane. Anyway, I gotta repair my picks. I wish deep slate wasn't such a good looking block, because it is so difficult to collect. But anyway, I got almost 10 stacks here, and I think that should be enough, so let's get to building. Alright, I have all the materials, I have the design planned out, and I think I'm going to do this in the form of a super fast time lapse. So let's get right into it. And just like that, everyone, this area, I think, is complete. Well, I gotta fix that back there. It's on behind every single one of the chests. And the floor, too. Problem is, I don't have enough of those. So I gotta go back. I gotta build a farm. I'm not going back to the deep dark to get those. So, I hope you enjoy this episode of SoloCraft. I'm 1000 Pain, and I'll see you in the next one.